riding down the high weirdness road, chasing every story nobody's told. Muppets in the backseat, vampires in tow. JJ Vance on the high weirdness road. Cold case counties and abandoned towns. Something in the shadows keeps swirling round. CIA box shouting, "Who killed Bill Cosby?" JJ just laughs and cranks the sound. Where the timeline's bend and the truth gets loud, and the moon looks wrong behind a wandering cloud. If the vampires strike, well, that's just how it goes. He's riding down the high weirdness road, where impossible things are the stories he's old. From hidden hollers on a foggy night to the America's wasteland, heartland. JJ Vance on the high weirdness road. He's rolling down the high weirdness road, chasing every phantom the archives hold. Truth gets strange, but he won't let go. JJ Vance on the high weirdness road. Yeah, JJ Vance on the high weirdness road. Hits the blacktop, midnight sky. JJ Vance got questions he can't deny. Used to have an RV full of case file stacks, map full of mysteries. Thumbtack, hear the hum of the tires, feel the pull of the strings. Where the lights in the woods get real deranged. Open your brain holes, where the truth explodes, and hunker on down for a trip on the OpGCD high weirdness road. He's riding down the high weirdness road, chasing every story nobody's told. Muppets in the backseat, vampires in tow. JJ Vance on the high weirdness road. Cold case counties and abandoned towns. Something in the shadows keeps swirling round. CIA box shouting, "Who killed Bill Cosby?" JJ just laughs and cranks the sound. Where the timeline's bend and the truth gets loud, and the moon looks wrong behind a wandering cloud. If the vampires strike, well, that's just how it goes. He's riding down the high weirdness road, where impossible things are the stories he's old. From hidden hollers on a foggy night to the America's wasteland, heartland. JJ Vance on the high weirdness road. He's rolling down the high weirdness road, chasing every phantom the archives hold. Truth gets strange,
Operation GCD with an Appalachian grin. Adventures and shenanigans, we're diving right in.
Oh, is this thing on? Is this thing on? Howdy, folks. Your host, Double J, back here coming at you live from my studio / Grand Canyon Airbnbs, real deep inside America. Good to be back in America, that is. Stay dangerous, America. Anyhow, folks of the interwebs, welcome back here. Your host of Operation GCD, JJ Vance here. Not the vice president. Do not vote for me in 2028, folks. Part-time vampire hunter. Kind of hard to explain. Anyhow, welcome back here, folks of the interwebs. We'll be your pilot and navigator for tonight's shenanigan-infused journey into the mind of this your particular garbage can dude. And I'm not going to lie to y'all, got a real barn burner here on deck for y'all tonight. The legend of David Wilcock, a Muppet of extraordinary varieties. Yes, sir. You've avoided him your entire life. Well, buckle up there, sir. He's an interesting Muppet. He's at the kind of the heart of a lot of these apocalyptic conspiracy culture movements in the last 20 years. He's an ardent channeler of a number of demons or aliens or something, and a man who thought he was the reincarnation of Edgar Casey, amongst many other things. Trust the Plan Q stuff. All the anti-gravitics. Again, I believe he spoke directly with the Blue Avians. He's the Blue Avian ambassador, the official one, in fact, I believe. So thank you all for joining me here tonight to get a little GCD. We got ourselves a guest, Cosmic Peace. Julia, welcome back to Operation GCD, ma'am, for your very first time ever.
I'm glad we're covering David Wilcock on my very first time.
Fantastic. I feel like, time to be here.
Yeah, that's gonna kick it off with a whoop whoop, because he's a weird motherfucker.
He is. He definitely is. He in his later years, he got transmuted into a banana sandwich, I believe, and raped and eaten by some reptoids. And then later reincarnated back to himself. So I don't know how that exactly works. But he's at the heart of a lot of strange tales and conspiracy culture over the years, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time in my life when I very first started looking into conspiracy stuff, and I had a membership to Gaia.
Oh, yeah. He was a Gaia star, right?
Yeah, for those of you who have ever heard of Gaia, he had like 3 or 4 of his own shows on there.
Yeah.
Wisdom teachings and cosmic disclosure and like all this stuff.
The Blue Avian Hour, maybe?
Right, yeah. He was on 3 or 4 different shows, and then he was on Ancient Aliens as well. And
he had a prominent role in a number of seasons of Ancient Aliens. He was definitely a well-known face on that program. Mm-hmm. For those who are not familiar with the David Wilcock.
Yeah.
He had an interesting trajectory for sure. And then allegedly, met an untimely end here on April 20th, right? Which obviously, by all appearances, is a man who used to bathe in his own shit. He eventually lost a lot of money, owed a lot to the IRS, perhaps, and his wife left him. There is cause for concern for the man's mental well-being, and perhaps substantial evidence that he did in fact off himself. But there's equally enough questions about the situation as well, it seems.
Yeah, I would say he might have had, like who doesn't have some debt? All right, he could have filed bankruptcy or some shit. I don't know what he needed to do. His wife.
I think his debt was the IRS kind, which I'm not sure. I'm not an attorney, ma'am. I'm also not the vice president.
Why is he getting all fucked up with the IRS? So he was just not paying taxes, or
yeah, I think it had something to do with some of that and some of this aerospace company that he invested in. Was the director of advanced intelligence, I think was his official title.
Okay, well, some of the first things that I watched with David Wilcock was like wisdom teachings on Gaia, and then he had that cosmic disclosure show with another. He interviewed like a bunch of whistleblower, like ex-military people, And there was one in particular that he teamed up with. His name was Corey Good. And he was like
Yes.
one of the creepiest, weirdest dudes with the blue avials and the
I was about to say, I think that's who
triangle.
introduced him to the Blue Avians, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. But then they got fired, right? And he started this stuff up.
Yeah, he invested like $2 million into this company, and they're in all sorts of weird tax scams or something going on there. They've never really produced anything. They call themselves this aerospace company. They've been around since '94. He was like in his shows for like the last year. He was always waiting on a check from these people. So I mean, I'm just saying, like, he did talk about some financial stuff. That being said, he did have a nice, I believe, 18-acre spot in Boulder County, worth close to $2 million. That was the place of his demise. So and he was lowering the price. He was on the market. He was lowering the price, but I think he lowered it to like $1.8 million, which you'd figure that would get him out of his financial trouble selling that thing.
Yeah, and he could have just lived with his freaking mom or something in the meantime while he does, because
take out a mortgage on it, right? Take out how many people take out a second mortgage before they off themselves?
Anything. Because if you watch his YouTube lives, which after he got kicked off of Gaia, he was doing all type of YouTube lives, and he would say, "Oh, another $333 donation came in. Oh, another." It was just like hundreds of dollars pouring in every time he did a live stream. So it wasn't like
he was raking in some chats on there to the point where I was like, how many people are watching him and legitimately giving him $800, $500 in one chat? You know what I mean?
So that's one episode. If you want to live modestly, I'm not talking about living with millions. I'm talking about living modestly. If he can't make a living off of what? Let's just say he does 3 or 4 live streams in a month, like once a week. He does 4 in a month. And he's making like $1,200 a live stream. You telling me he couldn't have lived off that if he sold his house and got himself out of some debt? Like, what are we talking about with this guy? He couldn't live off of that much.
That's for sure. He didn't, and like ultimately, it seemed like he could have solved his financial issues. Now, his wife did run away with her personal trainer a couple years ago, so that probably stung a little bit.
Yeah, but how many times? I mean, he is a funny-looking fool, okay, and he don't have a great sense of humor.
No, I wouldn't exactly call him charismatic either. You know what I mean?
No, so I can't just necessarily blame his wife for upping and taking off, but there were so many times in his wisdom teachings and like interviews he has given and stuff he would say on his live stream about the karmic consequences for killing yourself. He used to talk about
quite a bit,
stuff
man.
like
You are
that.
correct. That's an astute observation.
So why would a man who has dedicated the majority of his life talking about karmic consequences if you kill yourself, and you have to, everything you do in this life, you have to pay back cent for cent and all this stuff he would say. And in his last live stream, he was talking about like almost kind of like a preparation for another episode. So I just don't see how less than 24 hours after that live stream, and we can break this down, but
I was going to say, before we go any further, ma'am, you recently didn't properly give you an introduction for your podcast, or to plug your podcast, their Cosmic Peach podcast, but you broke down his last episode, David Wilcock's last episode. I thought that was a solid analysis there. You did bring in kind of an objective questions from both sides, I thought, which is fair, because there is a lot of, again, it is strange because you figure all this dude's been hyping disclosure for a couple decades, and all of a sudden on the eve of all this disclosure business, he decides, nah, I'm done, dude. And he's already weathered the 2012 storm. He went around telling when the whole world's going to end, and then he's still built a career after that. So it's just like the guy had some resilience in the past.
Yeah, he's actually been shit on quite a bit because when they got fired from Gaia, he took a fall. The 2012 thing, he took a fall. the disclosure thing, he took a fall. Okay. The Q stuff. I remember David Wilcock telling the fuck everybody about these 10 days of darkness, and they were coming, and everybody better be ready for these 10 days of darkness, and all this stuff was gonna. So he has eaten shit so many times with his predictions.
For sure.
And it just doesn't make sense to me why now all of a sudden, when we have this big disclosure stuff, what he's waited his whole life for, now all of a sudden he's going to kill himself. It just doesn't, it's not making sense to me whatsoever.
You make some solid points, man. We're definitely going to be discussing the life and the death, of course, of David Wilcock. And I did see a couple strange elements as well. You mentioned there in your podcast that in his last show, he came to the realization or news that his personal biographer had died a week prior.
Yeah, his personal biographer. You know who's going to be the next one? And this is just, you heard it here first on Operation GCD from me, Cosmic Peach. Corey Good's going to be the next one because he's got all this stuff he's always talking about the triangle-headed Pleiadial committee of the fucking extraterrestrial, and he's gonna be the fucking next one, and they're making martyrs out of these people because
for sure
it's popular now. This is the thing now, the disclosure thing. This is what's in right now. So they're making martyrs out of these people who have told us for so long about the blue avials are going to come down and they've got 5 cunts and we're all going to go to Sizzler together. And we're
going to be fifth dimensional beings. We're all going to be able to heal our own selves. We're going to have superpowers.
They're going to make us like little Jesuses, and we're all going to have Christ-like abilities, and we're all, and they're our friends. And they're making martyrs of these people, and it's the timing of it is too specific not to be purposeful in a way.
For sure.
My opinion.
Sometimes I feel like characters of like even before Wilcock passed, you know, characters like Wilcock, I think serve as a vehicle for money laundering. Right. He's out there doing all these tours and conferences and everything else like that. Who knows how much of that money he gets to keep if he's part of a larger network or operation. But with these, literally, like you pointed out in your podcast, he's getting super chats of like $500, $800. Like that's a great way to wash. That's the first thing that comes to my brain hole is that's a great way to wash money.
Sure it is. And the fact that he's sitting there saying he's got to eat pouches of baby food because he can't even eat. He can't even afford to buy a salad. He can't even, he's so constipated from eating croutons all day because that's all he can afford. It's like you just got a donation of like $800 from somebody, and all you can afford to eat is croutons. Like I just don't. A lot of this stuff is like
we have best-selling books. You think you get royalties from some of that, right?
And his appearances on Ancient Aliens, which is on Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime,
nonstop.
Literally. So you telling me you so constipated because all you can eat is string cheese you get from like the Habitat for Humanity. He's literally acting like he is living in a box. He's got all these cameras and laptops and all microphones and all this set up in his living room or wherever he's at. He's got like a fully functioning studio, but he's
I appreciate you pointing that out. Yeah, he's got a full-blown studio there, like big time equipment, not just like one computer and a camera type of deal, right? Also, happy birthday, ma'am. Happy birthday, Julie.
Thank you. I'm 57 today. I can't believe it.
You look very young for a 57-year-old. No, but that's a great point. Oh shit! Watch out. Vampire hunter, man. Actually, speaking of vampires, we got my sleep paralysis demon / vampire in the chat here. Please stand by. It's always my honor to introduce him properly. Our channel. Good to see you, fucking Muppet. I miss you like a sailor misses venereal disease. Tell the rest of your Langley venereal disease Muppets to go fuck themselves.
And who is Lucy?
Oh, it's Lucy Morningstar.
Mm.
She also wishes you happy birthday. Lucy's cool. Our channel.
Oh, I know
fan.
Lucy. Never mind. I thought that was code for something.
No, who knows with our channel? I don't think so though. He's generally fairly pleasant, at least in communications. Unlike some other Muppets in the chat that like to get all ruckus around here.
No kidding.
Not working at the moment, but no, I think that's an important factor to consider is the logistics. We see all these Joe Rogan knockoffs that spin up on his podcast, all your diet Joe Rogans, your vegan Joe Rogan, your millennial Joe Rogan, your Zoomer Joe Rogan. They're all Joe Rogan knockoffs. Your Julian Dorsey's, your Danny Jones, your Lex Friedman's, your Sean Ryan's. These are all variations of the Rogan experience or the Jeffrey Epstein experience, if you want to call it that.
Well, and the thing too is there's like if there's a diagram in the center is like a lot of the so there's like conspiracy stuff and then there's new age stuff. And then where it meets in the middle is where a lot of these assholes are fitting in. They're combining the conspiracy with the new age spiritualism to make some kind of like 5D consciousness, and
That's exactly what's going on. Yeah.
So it just for anybody who's listening who saw the title of this episode, I am not a David Wilcock fan. Okay. Never have been. Well, actually,
I'm a big fan of David Wilcock. I wish he was still around, to be quite honest with you. It's some of my favorite content to watch.
If you're into comedy, sure. Well, and you know what? It's not really that
funny. Some people have reality TV. I had David Wilcock. I do miss it.
Yeah, he so at one point in I think 2024, maybe 2023, he started doing this stuff where he was channeling the Archangel Michael.
Yes, that's some of my favorite stuff. Yes.
My goodness, JJ. And the problem is he believes if he is a person playing a character, which sometimes I kind of think that he was.
Right.
I mean, all of this is just theater, but if he is an actual real person, he really did believe he was channeling these fucking entities and stuff and having prophetic dreams. And some of the dreams were like, he would take something. I had a dream about a turkey sub, and I know that the Archangel Michael is telling me that QAnon, and he would just like make this big thing out of a dream about a turkey sub.
For sure. No, he was real big about that. I like the story arc towards the end of his life where he combined the Archangel Michael readings into the book of one, the raw readings that he'd done 25 years ago. He's like, oh, I didn't realize it. I was really just waiting for this moment when I was doing the previous readings. They were really talking about this readings, and he went full time loop on it. I was like, this is creative. This man's achieved a new level of grift.
He thinks he's fucking Harry Potter or some shit with his little time turner. I'm going to go back in time and then I'm going to read these prophecies and then I'll flash forward to this timeline and it's going to make all the sense in the world with these new prophecies. David, you fucking full of crap. And he's a funny looking fool. I don't know what's wrong with it. He looks practically inhuman. Sometimes I think if there are lizard people wearing swimsuits, he'd be fucking the first one I'd suspect because the motherfucker got a crooked face and a weird shaped head. And he was always like, even his sense of humor, it was like nothing computes. Nothing is like making sense.
No, his personality was a bit off, not even like in an autistic fashion. He was just a bit off. Like he was trying to act human, right?
That's what I'm saying. If there are lizard people and they are wearing skin suits, David Wilcock was definitely one of them. For sure.
And no, he got into everything. He tried to tie in all this quantum physics stuff and everything he was doing. He wrote quote unquote New York Times bestsellers on the topics, right?
Somebody said we're not showing some sympathy. Let me just say right now, let's take a moment. if he was a real person and he really died, that's 2 ifs. If he was a real person and not just somebody playing a character, and if he's really dead, RIP. All right, now we can move on with the show.
I know. Again, I totally agree. I was, as much as I thought he was a fool in his life, I love David Wilcock shows. I followed this show for years, hidden in plain sight, and they've faced a lot of backlash. They've been thrown off of YouTube in the wake of David Wilcock's death. And all they did was have an actual celebration of his life. They didn't say anything about his death, really, other than have some sympathy for his family.
His family, sure. I mean, I think there might be in on it, actually, the cover up. But there were times he would do interviews where he'd say really compelling and true statements about conspiracy related topics. And
it's a tough question.
Oh, David Icke. I've talked about David Icke too. Actually, with Colby a lot. I have mixed feelings about David Icke, but I think the thing that's compelling about David Wilcock is he made enough sense and said enough true shit that the nonsensical stuff was like, it's like the 60% a lie and 40% the truth, or 60% the truth and 40%. It's just like, it's so jumbled up. Like, he made a lot of sense sometimes. Sometimes he made really good points that were like, yeah, that's probably true. And then he would follow it up with like blue avials that had 6 cunts and stuff like that. And it's just like, you have to, maybe he was a cool guy and he just had his head all fucked up. I tend to think that he was just a character.
Yeah, I used to think somebody was just a true believer. An ancient alien cargo cultist, true believer. And I used to think he was legitimately being fed information by folks he thought were legitimate. I kind of pictured him as a modern day Paul Benowitz. The aviary, the folks he literally associated with around To the Stars Academy, John Podesta, the Ancient Aliens TV show crowd. These folks were the ones that were Richard Doty was part of the aviary, the Air Force OSI, Office of Special Investigations guy, the Mirage Men. They were feeding this dude Paul Benowitz all sorts of shit back in the 70s and 80s regarding to cover up for test flights around in New Mexico of actual secret aircraft they were test flying. They were feeding it all through him to make him think it was all aliens, and he was spreading the information. I kind of pictured Wilcock in the same capacity, but again, he's done so much more than Benowitz could ever imagine. He's traversed so many different of these communities. Like you said, this epicenter of this Christ consciousness activity that they're trying to do, and he was kind of at the forefront of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and all of his friends, and anybody who has ever said, yeah, I met David Wilcock at one of these conferences that they would do, these alien conferences.
They're big conferences. They used to get a lot of folks to go to those. Contacts
First
in the
off,
desert.
They're making a ton of money on that. And second off, they all said that he was weird. All right. They said he was weird, that he was off, something wasn't right with him. And I mean, just looking at him, clearly there's something off with him. His whole head looks caved in practically on one side. But that was something that he used to say, that's why I'm Edgar Casey reincarnated, because we both have weird shaped heads and our teeth are crooked. David, there is a lot of reason why you might have a weird shaped head and your teeth is fucked up, but I don't think it got shit to do with being Edgar Casey reincarnated. Like, the claims he would make were just off the wall sometimes.
For sure. He was also apparently he's big into reincarnation, and later in his life he developed other lives besides Edgar Casey that he apparently was reincarnated from. And one of those, he said that he was the reincarnated past lover of the Shadow of Ezra account on Twixter. I think it's a big QAnon account.
Oh my God. See, I don't even know about this. This is just, oh my fucking God.
Yeah, apparently Shadow of Ezra cut him off. You're like, all right, buddy. You know what I mean? Like, all right. QAnon was good, but like past lovers with QAnon people was just too much for him.
He really said that.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, could it be so nonsensical that this person was a character?
I mean, that's what he does. When you make that statement, he does legitimately seem like a character at times when he's doing things like this that make absolutely no sense, that come out of left field. You know, could he be nuts? I suppose it's possible, but he seems so cogent when he's doing it. You know what I mean? His hair's not pulled out. He's not completely disheveled, right? He's got his glam suit on, or whatever he used to call it. You know what I mean? He always wears some flashy stuff.
Yeah, and another thing, he had been discredited over and over again with his own prophecies, but the Q stuff was probably the worst of it. And he is still doing it. Well, was.
Yeah, for sure. He was trusting the plan.
All the way till April 20th, and maybe possibly still.
Yeah, but he was actually pre-Q with a lot of that stuff, right? Like 2014, 2015, he started calling it the Alliance. He's saying there's this group of white hats. They're known as the Alliance. And that is kind of the same kind of terminology we see circulating around the Q movement later.
Well, actually, I'm really, really glad you brought that up. And maybe we should just save it for the Patreon. But I want to get your sincere and genuine thoughts on whatever this is. Because I have listeners who are talking about some type of alliance. And I'm like, listen, people, if you're getting that shit from David the fuck Wilcock, you need to knock it off. There is no like this. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, it largely comes from Project Camelot. So, and that's where David Wilcock gets his start, was Project Camelot, Carrie Cassidy. Now, she's out there saying David Wilcock faked his death. We'll look at a podcast
I'm telling you, he did, for sure.
Yeah, we'll look at a podcast clip of that. But here's his introduction on Project Camelot in 2011 to show you what I'm talking about between these two Muppets, Cassidy and Wilcock.
Yeah. So I've been covering this Fulford story, and I released information about something that.
Okay, so let me repeat this. David Wilcock has received a death threat. I've asked him to come on my show at the last minute here after I just got a notice myself about it. We have contacted the necessary people to protect him, and they are going to be doing that. But I also am asking the listening audience to surround him with white light and protection. And if you have any means to address this situation from multiple of angles, please do so. And so, go ahead, David, and tell your story, and let's deal with this.
All right.
It's okay. Let's just take it one step at a time. And I just want to say that you are beloved by many people out there, and I have contacted a very important person who can definitely come to your aid in every way. So do not worry. Whatever can be done will be done on your behalf. And I have to say, I've seen the future, and you're going to be fine.
Well, I appreciate that.
So that was 2011, right? He's like, I got to get this information out right now, or I'm going to die. So that was his introduction into this disclosure, because she's been around disclosure since the 90s, and she's the one to vet all these people, these government insiders. She's like, yeah, they're legit. They're a government insider.
She also said she could see the future.
Right.
Why didn't she let a motherfucker know he about to blow his whole entire brain off?
No kidding, dude, right? Like, what kind of friend is that? You can see the future, you're not going to warn him?
Right, and Colby just said, it surrounded him with white light, and everybody braid your pubes, and everybody put patchouli stank on your pits, get in a circle, light a fire, sing Kumbaya, and the blue avials will come.
Yep.
And take you to TGI Fridays.
Oh, I hope so. They got the Jack Daniels special there, right? It's the Blue Avian's favorite.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm talking about, because it's almost like there's a community, okay, and I'm not saying that the spirituality is wrong. But there is, like, I watched a documentary about this where they dressed up their dead cult leader and like painted eyeballs on her dead fucking eyelids and danced her around like fucking Weekend at
Bernie's, dude. The Weekend at Bernie's, dude.
Yes.
No shit.
And this is what I'm talking about, is there is an aspect of this new age spirituality it's kind of horrific in a way, because they get up to some shit. That's how you end up dressing up your dead cult leader, painting eyelids on her dead fucking eyes, dancing around Weekend at Bernie's style.
Fuck yeah.
With the white light and the blue, and they're gonna come down.
Blue
for
Avians,
it.
dude. Blue Avians love that shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But David Wilcock bridged those two communities, right? Conspiracy and the Weekend at Bernie's. He bridged them.
That's a solid point, ma'am. I think those communities may have been on a trajectory on this path for a very long time, whether organized or not. I tend to think it was more organized. For example, there was a cult in southern Utah back about 100 years ago. They were doing a lot of this, thinking they could raise the dead type of business, the Weekend at Bernie stuff you're talking about. And they were a new age. I don't think the Blue Avians were in the mix yet, but if they heard about the Blue Avians, they'd have been into them for sure.
But that's what to me that stuff is almost like borderline. It's almost borderline dangerous because once you get involved in it, it's a lot of ritualism, and it's a lot of like it. So I guess I just kick it old school with my conspiracy. I just like it straight to the point, real, like authentic conspiracy stuff. I don't really go for a lot of alliance and Q and we can trust our government because there's these white hatters that don't rape kids.
They're here to help. The government's here to help, clearly.
Right, yeah. Here to help. There's a group and they don't rape kids and they don't get up to any suspicious activity.
Yeah.
They don't, and they're gonna come and save us. And it's like at some point a little bit, it's like we're all victims and we have to wait for this savior of the US government, of these white hatters with the blue avials, because they're our friends and they're gonna come and
transport the white hats, man. That's the Blue Avians give them transport. They gotta fly them there.
That's like Heaven's Gate behavior, in my opinion.
It's very similar. It is very. I think it actually may have grown out of the same movement. So there was an actual government project in the 90s to invade these apocalyptic cults called Project Megiddo, and that's precisely when we see Mr. David Wilcock, the legend of David Wilcock. I want to thank you all, folks, at the interwebs, for joining us here tonight on the legend of David Wilcock. I want to thank you, ma'am, for joining me here to talk Blue Avians with our favorite Blue Avian ambassador, David Wilcock. But he left a psychology department with a graduated psychology department in New York State University, New Pats. Now, the State University of New York systems have, like, there are some known knowns. If you want to talk about known knowns, some known knowns of the MK Ultra program involved in that system. We see known knowns of some of the epicenter of that activity in the past, because all the documents got destroyed. But we know some of that activity revolved around some of the SUNY system of universities. That's where he graduated from in psychology. At the same time, then he goes into this new age cult, channeling the book of the raw
Law
channeling.
of One.
Law of One. There we go. I always get mixed up with Crowley's stupid book. It's very similar though, right? Channeling some stupid alien entity named Raw. But
Raw.
He comes in and right at that same time from an interesting program. So I think there's, that should be considered at least as a possibility.
He was also trying to get an honorary PhD for all the books he has written. Because
from the Blue Avian University or Blue Avian State?
Somewhere was going to give him some kind of honorary PhD, because there's books like The Synchronicity Key and all the, and listen, people,
it's field investigations or some shit.
Some shit like that. And there is nothing wrong with spirituality in its own right. Like, it's, if you want to be spiritual, you want to put blue moringa taint rub on, you want to hang crystals up and that's fine. Light an incense, say a prayer.
You want to do the little bowl things? Will they do the bowl things?
Do the bowl.
Seems calming. Yeah, the bowl tunes, that seems calming. If people are into that, I get it.
It do whatever, but it's like it never stops there. It's like a little bit of ritualism, and then a little bit more ritualism. Now I'm going to try to channel these beings.
Yep.
Now I'm going to take my period blood and make a pasta sauce out of it. Now I'm going to.
Sounds kind of Crowleyan.
That's what I'm saying. It's like there's always the next level. Now I gotta activate my kundalinis and my chakras, and now I gotta do. And it's always like you're always chasing something like the next level. Now the next level is we're just waiting on them to come and get us so they can turn us into little mini Jesuses and little healers and little Christs and like
That's literally what he said, though. You put that in your part 2 of your podcast, and I appreciated that addendum you included because that is literally his worldview.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very similar to Theosophical. It's all these other ancient alien cargo cults have the same worldview. These ascendant kind of masters, these alien beings, they're going to save us all. They have all the knowledge. They're going to give us all the knowledge.
But the scary part about it and why they're calling in actively right now, they're calling in pastors from all over the US to like join in on this shit, is because I do believe it will rock people when they start introducing these entities into our consciousness, our conscious awareness. So a lot of people are like, oh, I don't think have. Well, some people are like, oh, if you're a true Christian, I don't think it would rock your faith to see an alien or to see. I do think so, because what they're going to do is they're going to show proof that these entities helped build the pyramids, that that Atlantis was real and all these pyramids around the world.
They love Atlantis.
They're going to fucking go ape shit over that because it's something you can visually see. We can see the pyramids. And now they're back and they're here for us and they're going to, to be our friends and they're going to give us all this technology and whatever.
That is, it's always technology. And it's very, when he started talking about all this technology rants, I'm like, oh, that sounds very Scientology-like.
Mm-hmm. That's how they're going to get you. And that's why they're calling in pastors to be like, oh, it's okay. They're talking to the Pope and shit. The Pope has said, if you can't get on board with our alien brothers and sisters, you're not even a Christian. That's what he said.
He did say that. He's kind of a Muppet. He did say that. He fits right in with these Muppets. You know, a lot of times I like to think that it seems to indicate that Vatican invented a lot of these things around space, all the origins of terms in space, the largest telescopes in space, the creation of these astronomies in space and whatnot, these astronomical sciences, they all go back to the Vatican.
Oh, what? That's 100. That's why that's why they got the Pope in on this shit. If you can't get on board with our alien brothers and sisters, then you're not even a Christian. You're not. You're gonna. I want this. So they're going to. Well,
David Wilcock's had telekinesis. David Wilcock's professed to have telekinetic powers.
He is a prophet. He is telekinetic. He can read minds. He so much so to the point where he had to blow his own brains out after telling everybody the consequences of doing something like that because he's all into the karmas and the.
And that was one of his fundamental points. That's one of the things I find so weird is he professed that ever since I've been watching David Wilcock for like the last 12 or so years, 13, or probably 14 or so years around. I tuned in around 2012 there, when he was one of the forefront of the 2012 nonsense. I'm like, what, the world's going to end? What kind of ridiculous nonsense are they perpetrating? That's when I started kind of noticing a lot of this ancient alien cargo cult propaganda, which is basically all the Ancient Aliens TV show is ancient alien cargo cultists espousing their, cargo cult belief systems. And again, that's why he fit into that, I think. But yeah, he always talked about karmic cycles and stuff, and how if you commit suicide and you get stuck, then you're going to be reincarnated as like an ant or something like that.
Yes, I was just going to say, because he was so into the reincarnation thing. And I actually remember watching an interview where he said, I have purposefully and carefully never had children, because if you have children, you are in some kind of karmic loop with them. And if you let one thing happen to them, you're going to have to be reincarnated as like a fucking tick on a dog's ass. And and that's why I've never had children. Like, he was so passionate about karma and reincarnation, not saying that those things aren't real, but this is a person who blew his own brains out. And here's my thing. And, tell me if you want me to say it for the Patreon, but what's with the audience? This man, with all of his spiritual karma and reincarnation, called an audience to have to watch him do this. Not buying it.
I got a lot of ideas about that, man. It's a solid point. And then the high weirdness of David Wilcock's life, his former mentor ended his life allegedly in the precise same way.
This is why you got to put all the puzzle pieces together. Because somebody who's into reincarnation and karma, why the fuck would you call people to your house to make them watch you do that? Why would you traumatize a bunch of people with that? If you're all into the karma and the I'm gonna have to come back as a tick on a dog's ass that has fucking Lyme's disease.
It's not a good time to be a tick on a dog's ass, that's for sure. There's a lot of folks that are out there weaponized against ticks at the moment.
Yeah, whatever that alpha ray gamma disease, so you can never eat meat and shit again. That's also.
Don't worry.
What?
I also got a remote viewer's take on the death of David Wilcock as well. But I do. We will be taking this conversation over to patreon.com/OperationGCD here. But before we go, I wanted to. I was just thinking with all this ascension talk. Do you think Corey Feldman is alien as that Muppet looks? Do you think he might be a blue avian? Little Ascension Millennium. It's a classic Corey Feldman song.
He's a money grubbing, grifting. He's practically a cult leader. I watched his little documentary on YouTube.
No, he is for sure. Yeah.
$3. He be having BO. He don't wash his nuts. He stinks, and he just wants your money. But he probably got fucked up as a kid. So, oh well.
He thought he was Hugh Hefner, like the reincarnation of Hugh Hefner.
He needs to reincarnate some fucking Dove body wash up in there because he's greasy. He looked nasty. He need to get a shower and collect himself. Okay, because
let's see what Alex Jones / Bill Hicks has to say on the subject, man, before we go.
Known you for years, but you're Jewish, right?
I'm actually not. I'm raised Roman Catholic, but I have a great affinity for the Jewish people in Israel.
You're gay. That's what it is. There's
gay.
always something.
Okay, yeah.
My point is, I didn't even know that.
Alex Jones out there just yelling at people, "You're Jewish. You're gay."
You're
Happy Pride Month. Happy Pride Month.
It was. Perfect
All right.
timing.
Well, folks in the interwebs, thank you all for joining us tonight to get a little GCD. We'll see you Patreon folks here in a few minutes on the Patreon side. And on that note, on the way out, I would be remiss if I didn't warn you folks of the interwebs, watch out for lasers.
There's thousands of Americans out there. By the way, I've been shot with a laser beam twice.
Have some humanity, folks. Ted Gunderson's down. They got him twice.
Operation GCD with an Appalachian grin. Adventures and shenanigans, we're diving right in. Out in the holler where the secrets creep, garbage can dudes digging mighty deep. Secret societies, shadows in the pines. Operation GCD of American rebels design. Double J searching deep in his brain hole, past layers of melted hops and bone resin. From cults to cover-ups, we're talking about all of that. So watch your sixth friend in the truth we trust. The world's a puzzle, grunge rock ain't what it seems. Ancient alien cargo cults haunt the moon's pale beams. Cincinnati schemers, history's a haze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. Adventures and shenanigans, we're diving right in. Join us on the journey and enjoy the show. Thanks for joining us to get a little GCD. Hey, the world's a puzzle, brunch rock ain't what it seems. Ancient alien cargo coats haunt the moon's pale beam. Cincinnati schemers, history's a haze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. Hell, the world's a puzzle, grunge rock ain't what it seems. Ancient alien cargo cults haunt the moon's pale beams. Cincinnati schemers, history's a haze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. Operation GCD with an Appalachian grin. Adventures and shenanigans, we're diving right in. Out in the holler where the secrets creep, garbage can dudes digging mighty deep. Secret societies, shadows in the pines. Operation GCD of American rebels design. Double J searching deep in his brain hole, past layers of melted hops and bone resin. From cults to cover-ups, we're talking about all of that. So watch your sixth friend and the truth we trust. The world's a puzzle, grunge rock ain't what it seems. Ancient alien cargo cults haunt the moon's pale beams. Cincinnati schemers, history's a haze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. Operation GCD with an Appalachian grin. Adventures and shenanigans, we're diving right in. Join us on the journey and enjoy the show. Thanks for joining us to get a little GCD. Hey, the world's a puzzle, brunch rock ain't what it seems. Ancient alien cargo coats haunt the moon's pale beam. Cincinnati schemers, history's a haze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. Hell, the world's a puzzle, grunge rock ain't what it seems. Ancient alien cargo cults haunt the moon's pale beams. Cincinnati schemers, history's a haze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze. Double J's on the mic, lighting things ablaze.
Boom!